Okay, I'm recording. I'm doing this. This is Making Mind. This is a podcast by me, Keith Hayden, and I'm so glad you're here because this is the first time that I'm doing a podcast with basically no agenda. I'm not trying to tell a story. I'm not trying to teach anybody how to learn languages specifically. Those are my other podcasts that I do. I'm not talking to or catching up with my brother, which is another podcast that I've done. This is just me. This is my podcast. And you're probably wondering why it's called something freaking weird like Making Mind. What the hell is that? Well, I'm going to tell you about it. And this is when I would play a theme song, but I haven't composed a theme song for this yet. So this is just going to be me talking for this first episode. And that's probably fitting because I don't have a script. I didn't even write any damn notes for this. I'm just off the cuff. I'm super tired right now. It's been a long day. And yeah, I just felt like cutting on the microphone, and I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to record. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Keith Hayden. I'm an author, a podcaster, a musician. I'm an amateur AI enthusiast or experimentalist. I'm also a teacher. I also love to write. I have a newsletter. I have my own business, which is a budding media agency, basically, called Hayden Academy Collective Studios. And the whole point of me starting that business was to educate people in how to basically not do what I'm doing exactly, but to do whatever it is that they do best, to give them the tools and the techniques and just some of the tricks of the trade that I've learned over these past, how many years has it been now? 6 years that I've been in the online space. I mean, I've dabbled in YouTube, I've done the Twitter thing, I've done LinkedIn, newsletters, I've tried out courses, I've made the rounds of internet creator life, and I have yet to succeed in a way that is, you know how it is. It's up and down. It hasn't really, the flicks haven't hit yet, I should say. I haven't hit to a point to where I'm like, okay, I got this. Every day is still kind of a learning experience, but I've been in it long enough to where I'm happy with the quality of things that I'm putting out. I've learned so much from how to run a podcast like this, to how to code, to how to write, to how to use social media, to how to help other people get in their spaces. I've learned a ton. And so with all that stuff that I've learned, that brings me to this podcast. Why is it called Making Mind? Well, with all of my experimentations in coding and in AI recently, in the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 months, I've just kind of I've put a lot of stuff out there, from comments to podcasts to Twitter posts, YouTube videos. I have stuff all over the internet now, it feels like, and I realized that all of my data is not really mine. It's just on these other platforms, and this isn't going to turn, don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you crypto or Web3 stuff or anything, or any of that shit. This is more of, I want to basically download or upload, however you see it, my own stuff that I know, my knowledge, into online, but for a platform for me. So this podcast is going to be the vehicle for me to do it orally, because I thought about doing it with writing, because I really love to write, but I just feel like it's so easy now with all of the tools we have available to go from medium to medium. So to go from audio to text to audio, to text to video, video to text, and back and forth. It's just so easy. It's never been easier. So I decided to take advantage of that with this podcast by documenting my stuff, my teachings, to teach you who are here how to do various things that I know how to do pretty well. Such as, you're asking, well, writing, is producing a podcast, starting your own business, just being a creative entrepreneur, coming up with ideas, using AI, coding, how to compose music. There's so many things that I just kind of do and I don't really think about, that I realize that, I've got a lot of stuff that I know that I've just learned, I've just kind of picked up along the way. And it doesn't just have to do with creating online. There's other stuff too that I could talk about. Of course, learning languages. I speak 3 different languages other than English fairly well. Mandarin, Japanese, and Spanish. Most of that is self-taught, though I have taken some classes in Japanese. But yeah, so I've got a lot I want to talk about. And another reason that I started this podcast and that I called it Making Mind, because in the very near future, you are going to see that your data, your personal data, is going to become very valuable to you. You're going to want all of those Facebook comments, those random YouTube comments, those random tweets, those crappy YouTube videos that you posted back when you were in college or whenever. You're going to want that stuff because it's yours. You made it. And yeah, because very soon you're going to be able to use that it's going to be an asset for you. You're going to be able to do whatever you want with it. You want to loan it out to somebody. You want to give people access to your knowledge base. Do you want to turn it into another persona through AI? This maybe it sounds like science fiction to you. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm about to turn this podcast off. But I'm telling you, it's already happening. There's already people doing this, and it's already possible right now. As of when I'm recording this, April 2023. It's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible. And so seeing that writing on the wall, I was like, man, I've already got a lot of stuff out there. It's just not, I don't have it wrangled up. I got to go out and find my stuff. I got to go to Substack. I got to go to LinkedIn. I got to go to YouTube. And I was like, well, that's going to be a lot of work. And I eventually planned to do some of that work, but I was also like, well, hell, I can just talk about what I know, and I can control it through this. So this is going to be that podcast, and that's the reason why I started it, to have that knowledge base to where I can use it for whatever future use that comes up. I also started it to just record my knowledge, and then I also started it to teach. So there's 3 reasons, because I do plan on teaching you things. And so I've talked about why this podcast. Let's talk a little bit about what before I shut this first recording down. So the what, I loosely formatted it as basically each time I plan to talk about something that I already know, something that I'm pretty good at. For instance, writing. I could talk about writing pretty easily. I could talk about social media marketing fairly easily. I've done a lot of that for my own stuff. I also have done it for other people. I could talk about technology pretty easily. So the things that are like, okay, learning languages, things like that, they're like second nature. I could do it any day of the week. So that's one aspect of it. The other aspect are things that I'm learning right now. Things that in real time that I'm chipping away at. I'm trying to get good at. This is stuff like coding and AI stuff. I've got my eye on video. Video is kind of the last frontier for me. I've done audio, I've done writing, but video, I'm still very, I haven't done it. I've posted YouTube videos, but there's like, look at my videos, it's like minimal editing. Most of it is like static screens and shit. It's nothing too fancy. So video is something that I've got my eye on, and I'm interested in art too, and not just AI art. I mean, I'm fine with AI art, but I actually have a desire to learn how to draw myself and be able to produce my own stuff, because AI art while it's nice and can produce some really great effects, it can just be kind of haphazard. You don't have the control that you have when you create your own art. So I wanna learn that. So that's stuff I'd like to give updates, and as I'm learning it, I'd like to help you who are listening to this get inspired to learn it, or give you some resources or techniques that I've learned, and maybe we can help each other out in that way with this podcast. So that's going to be the what I have my eye on. I'm trying not to be too ambitious with this, because this is what I do. I come up with a thing. Like this morning, I came up with the logo for this, and I was like, oh, I can make it like a story, and I can do all this. I always these ideas just kind of blow up, and I'm like, no, you cannot do that. I'm in the middle of finishing my sci-fi podcast. It's been years of work, and I just need to finish it. And whenever I start another project and go all in on it, it's another thing that takes my eye off the ball. And summer's already rolling around here, and I just don't want that to happen anymore. So I'm like, okay, I just need to put my head down and finish. So I'm going to keep this as low a touch point as possible for me. I don't want to say bare minimum, but I don't want a lot of effort with this. I don't want this to take up a lot of time, because I just don't have a lot of time. So I'm not going to say daily. I can't commit to daily, but a couple of times a week, I'd like to sit down and just record, kind of like journal style, but not like about my personal life and shit like that. Like my personal life's actually not that interesting most of the time. But it's around the stuff that I'm creating, and around business and those things like that, the stuff that I do online, which I pretty much do at least a little bit every day. That's the stuff that I want to share on this, because I think that's the most valuable thing that I have to share. And I was attempting to do that on Twitter through, posting my updates. If you follow me on Twitter, if you've seen me on Twitter, you probably see me doing like the do 100 things and posting daily and doing that. I'm kind of done with that. It just doesn't really work. Like, at least for me, like, it takes a lot to post that stuff, and I enjoy doing this more than posting another thing on Twitter or trying to keep up with the whole Twitter rat race. I'm pretty sick of it at this point. So, but I'm still on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I do post things on there. But I'm just going forward, it's going to be a little bit less, at least for now. So I think that's it for this first episode of Making Mind. This digital mind that basically I'm attempting to create through this podcast. So if you like this idea, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, wherever the hell this is. I plan to put it on YouTube. I also plan to have it in a regular podcast feed, because I'm already paying for the damn thing. Might as well use it. And I could probably do some stuff through just making text and blog posts. It's pretty easy to move through these different mediums nowadays. So the information will be out there. And if you like this idea, hey, hit a comment, tell me what you think. I'm hoping that you get at least something out of this. Because I've realized something I've realized over the years, that you have to have some degree of selfishness when it comes to this stuff. Like, you have to do the stuff for yourself or you're not going to last very long. If you do it making yourself the martyr or the starving artist who's doing it for art or something like that, or you're doing it for the paycheck, or you're trying to do the side hustle thing and all that, in my experience, you don't last very long. At least I can't keep going like that with those motivations. So it's got to be interesting. It's got to be fun. And I want to bring you along on this journey. So hope you are interested in this. My name's Keith Hayden. You can find me on Twitter at KH_author. Website is keithhayden.net. And the YouTube is Hack Studios, HAC Studios on YouTube. I'm on all the other platforms as well, but I don't really give a shit about those platforms, so I'm not going to bring them up. And that's all I've got to say about this. So hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you in the next one.